The Wizards get smoked like a hookah by the Griz, 128-104. Jaren Jackson Jr. drops 39 points on the head. Lord have mercy. Let's talk about it next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Wizards Daily Newsletter, a one-stop shop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Wizards newsletter. And tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And again, the Washington Wizards get humbled tonight. Get smoked like a hookah by the Griz, man. 128-104. Jaren Jackson Jr. drops 39 points to the Wizards. And Abdullah, man, I really felt like this was a winnable game. I mean, no John Morant, no Marcus Smart. I mean, no Desmond Bane. Yes, we didn't have Kyle Kuzma, but still, I felt like this was a very winnable game. So what are your takeaways from this game, man?
Yeah, man. Like I said before stream, once I saw Zach Edey hit 3, I just knew it was going to be one of those nights for the Wiz, man. I mean, Come on. No, it was obviously, Jaren Jackson having 39 points. That was pretty disappointing to see. Alex Sarr definitely was a learning curve. And again, it's Jaren Jackson, but 39 points, I mean, it's just kind of insane for the Wiz and just losing it in the paint. I mean, you bring in a guy, Jonas Valanciunas, to solve that situation. But again, when you don't have guys like John Moran, Desmond Bane, and such, you should be able to not even at least keep the game close. But losing by 24 points, it's sad to see. But again, a learning curve for Alex Sarr and the young crew.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. I mean, I'm gonna get into the stat line real quick. To me, the game was lost in the paint. Yes, you can argue perimeter defense at time was lacking, but I mean, look at the tail of the table in the paint, man. I mean, we got out rebounded 62-51, and they scored 60 points in the paint. Now we did score 54, so obviously, it was a big paint battle, man. But I felt like you said, Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. really showed their presence, and Alex Sarr showed that while you see the potential with him at the 5 in the future, right now he's best served at the 4. Like I said, Zach Edey is a strong cat, man. And, Jaren Jackson Jr. was able to do whatever he wanted. 39 points. He was shooting 50% for the field for him. So let's get into some other stats. Looking at the starting 5, they did start Jonas Valanciunas tonight instead, or they had Alex Sarr at the 4, Bilal at the 3, and JP and Bub Carrington in the backcourt. So, I mean, Bub Carrington, man, almost flirted with a triple-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Good overall game from him. Again, his shot did not drop. 4 for 11 for the field, 1 for 5 from 3, but he did contribute 4 steals in the defensive end. He showed a dog, man. I mean, the dude, he hit the court. I mean, he got some court to the face, man, and still got up and played some basketball, man.
That's what I'm saying. Even if like an off night when shooting wise, he's still almost a triple double as a rookie. Like, sorry to cut you off, but that's pretty good.
Oh, no. I mean, look, I agree 100%, man. Like I said, look at the stat line. He had an off-shooting night and still almost had a triple-double. So 10 rebounds from a point guard. Come on now. I mean, 8 assists. He continues to show glimpses of being a floor general. Looking at JP 13, not his best night, only 22 minutes a night. 10 points. His shot did not drop tonight, but I think he's earned an off night. I mean, overall, he's played well this season. He's going to, one off night, I ain't tripping. So, like I said, 10 points. Not his best night shooting the ball, but had his glimpses in only 22 minutes because I think they really stuck with the young guys out there. You saw an extended look at the young guys out in the court together. Bilal, 10 points, 4 for 9 for the field, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. So he was the original, the dog we know he is on the defensive side, man. But offensively, he had his moments, but he's, offensively, I think that, yes, this could be his breakout campaign, but I think his offense still, consistency is the name of the game for him, man. So you definitely, he's going to have his growing pains. I said it time and time again. He's going to have his growing pains, but I think he will be all right. Alex Sarr, very underwhelming night. I mean, 24 minutes, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 3 for 11 for the field, 0 for 5 from 3. Did have a block, did have a steal. Not his best game, but again, the defense is there and the offense will come. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too concerned. Now, looking at Zach Edey, man, he's a complete different tier when it comes to a center, man. And I think we both can agree that Alex Sarr is best served at the 4 for right now, man. He needs to gain some muscle because Zach Edey, man, is a strong cat. And him and Jaren Jackson Jr., man, really held down the paint. And I feel like that the Wizards should have kind of brought them out to the perimeter. I mean, do you agree with that assessment? I mean, if you look at the fact that, again, John Moran was out. Desmond Bane is out. You got Marcus Smart out. Their best, arguably their best defender. And I thought that the Wizards, looking at strategy, should have brought them out to the perimeter and really utilized backdoor cuts and stuff like that. And, you look at guys like Corey Kispert. So what do you think? I mean, do you think that the game would have been closer if they would have brought Zach Edey and Triple J out to the perimeter?
I think so. I mean, again, Zach Edey is a paint presence, so putting him out there at the 3-point line obviously, opens up the paint. But again, when you offensively, when a lot of the guys are struggling, it really is hard to see if we can even manage to be a close enough of a game.
No, I agree 100%, man. Like I said, I'm looking at a few other folk, man, but right now he's not strong enough. He's just not strong, and it's all right, man. Look, it's the rebuild. It's all about progression, right? It's all about development. So I think you see the potential with Alex Sarr. I'm not concerned. I know people are ready to call this man a bust after 5 summer league games. I ain't there, man. I think he's definitely gonna be a really good player in this league and be part of the core going forward, man, for the next championship team in DC. But the only fan shooters, man, tonight was probably, outside of the next gentleman we're about to talk about, played really well. 16 points, 5 rebounds, but 3 blocks, 2 steals. Man, look, we know at times, getting down the court, he's not his nimble self like he was in Memphis or Toronto or in New Orleans, man. But look, he's a guy who, when given minutes, he produces. And I think that if you look at, the fact that we're shopping all of these vets right now, we're going to be able to get something from him because he continues to show really, really good basketball, man. And shows that when called upon, he can produce. And, a team like the Lakers could definitely use his services, man. So I said this, I made it known, man, that I believe that Keyshawn George and Corey Kispert are a nice 1-2 punch off the second unit, man. Tonight, Keyshawn George, 17 points. Corey Kispert, 14 points. Corey Kispert shooting 1 for 3 from 3. His shots starting to ramp up a little bit, but very active at the charity strike, shooting 7 for 9. And Keyshawn George, man, I mean, he's a dog defensively. I mean, that's the question we get in before we get into the commercial break, man, is that, looking at this draft, and like I said, the experts, quote-unquote experts, right, call this a really bad draft. I don't know, man. These 3 draft picks we have, they look solid. I mean, they are definitely part of the core foundation going forward, man. Yeah, 2025 is definitely the more sexy draft. But, I mean, come on now. Keyshawn George, looking at a scouting report coming out of college, man, coming out of the U. Offensively, I know he's a sharpshooter, a guy who can definitely put the ball on the floor, create shots, drive to the hoop. But defensively, how impressed have you been with him, man? I mean, he's really better than I expected on the defensive end.
First, I want to call out those experts and really see what they're saying right now, because I mean, to give that grade when the Wizards drafted those 3, and I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to Keyshawn, I had the least expectations of him compared to Sarr and Bub Carrington, but his ability to play defense while letting it fly from 3 at such a young age, I mean, again, it's just so promising to see, even when it's an off night for the rest of the guys on the Wiz kids.
Oh, absolutely, and you brought up a good point, man, which is even when they struggle, they keep fighting. I think that has a lot to do with 2 factors, man. Number one, these players. Will Dawkins himself said that he, when they're evaluating players, yeah, they're looking at not so much what they are now, what they can be down the road, but they're looking at high character guys, high basketball IQ guys. You see that with these 3 guys. The basketball IQ's to the roof. I mean, the dog factor. I mean, Bub Carrington caught a piece of court to the face and got up and was like, look, put me in, coach. I mean, the dog factor, man. And Keyshawn George, he got a little dog. I mean, he was talking junk, man. I love it. And, we're going to talk about Draymond Green and his comments coming up, man. But, I mean, I'm going to wait on that, man. But like I said, I love what I see from these young guys, man. Like I say, the dog factor, the toughness, the character. These guys, they play hard. They play to win. Yes, there's going to be a massive talent gap. We're a young team. We're a young, unproven team. But, looking at Memphis, again, very winnable, though. I mean, a very winnable game. I mean, you knew that, Jaren Jackson Jr. was going to pick it up and definitely pick up the slack for John Morant not being in. But, I mean, Scottie Pippen Jr., nothing against Scottie Pippen Jr. I mean, like you said, his dad is probably definitely one of the best players to play the game. And like I said, part of the great Chicago Bulls dynasty, man. But I believe he was an undrafted guy. So he put in some work. I believe, he got a triple-double or he flirted with it. Let me pull it up real quick. Scottie Pippen, he got a triple-double tonight. So 11 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. So, I mean, I feel like this is a winnable game, man. So, like I said, we're going to get into comments made by Draymond Green about this young whiz kids, and we're gonna see a look at the schedule real quick, Abdullah, man, because if we can lose to a Memphis Grizzlies team that is dealing with injuries, man, what are the next 10 games going to look like, man? So we're going to get into that. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. All right, so let me go to the screen. Boom, all right, PrizePicks. So what is PrizePicks, everybody? PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everybody. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. It's that easy. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. But look, there's more to it. You can win now up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks, man. It's that easy, guys. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. Lord, man, mercy. It's guaranteed. Think Stephen Curry will get more or less than 4 3-pointers next week, or Anthony Edwards, more or less than 27 points. Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. So look, do yourself a favor, download the app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Tonight's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get 100 minutes of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join the day. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet, right? That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right, everybody, let's get back into this, man. So, important questions, man. First, we're going to get into Draymond Green made some really, I'm not going to say alarming, but some questions that really make you think, man, about how tough Keyshawn George and Bob Carrington is, man. You made comments where he felt like he was getting bullied by these cats, man. We know that him and JP13 have a history. He cold clocked him. I'm going to call him a cheap punch, but it's all good. But like I said, they have history, but even he had high marks about Jordan Poole and his development and his leadership here in DC. So wise words from Draymond Green, man. So does this kind of give you an indication of how the NBA kind of views what the Wizards are doing in DC?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Draymond Green, an iconic NBA Hall of Famer, of course, and a guy that trash talks himself. If he's going out there saying these young bucks are going at him, just imagine what they're going to do the rest of the season. It's very good to see because, again, these guys are young and the expectations are just so low right now that anything that you see that's encouraging, you just are excited for to build that championship in Washington.
Oh, I agree 100%, man. I mean, I'm not gonna give every reason why I think we're heading in the right direction. I think everybody's kind of heard that by now, man. But we are definitely heading in the right direction. I mean, they're putting time and effort into this organization in places that previously were kind of neglected. You know what I mean? The scouting department. A head coach that really, the name of the game for him is development. If you look at the facilities, the training facilities, there's so many different factors, man, that they're finally putting the necessary time into this team for it to be successful. Right. So when you start to see accolades from, players like Draymond Green, it tells you that people see what they're doing in DC. They see that they're trying to build something. And the narrative that DC, number one is a small market is not. I mean, it's the biggest market in the country, man. I mean, I never understood. I think that when people say small market when it comes to DC or sports teams in DC is that, ownership at times has acted like this was a small market team. But the DMV is probably the biggest market in the country outside of New York and LA. And, if you look at the fact that Loudoun County, Virginia is the fastest growing area in the last 30 years, this is not a small market. But two, it's just, I don't even know if I got to stick around. I mean, that's the biggest reason to me is that, the narrative is that and the narrative, right? The narrative that people don't want to come here. It's a small market, it's not somewhere the free agents want to go to. And I think we're changing that narrative. DC, obviously we don't have the clubs like New York and LA, but not a bad place to be, raise a family. And, when you look at attracting free agents, man, what they're doing here, you have to give Will Dawkins and company their flowers, man. They're creating an atmosphere of improvement, an atmosphere where people want to get better, where people want to be here and play, man. So I kind of want to get your opinion on that real quick. But, like I said, those are words that I think kind of resonate with a lot of people because that wasn't always the case in DC. This was never a place where people wanted to go to, and it made it hard to build around players like John Wall, build around Gilbert Arenas. And, when we want to add that free agent, that one marquee guy, or make that one big trade, we can do so because, one, we have the draft capital, and two, we have the culture in place, and we have everything put in place for people to want to come here and play. So,
it reminds me of the Commanders,
Oh, look, great example, man. You know what I'm saying? Like exactly, because the last 20 years under Dan Snyder, nobody wanted to come here, man, outside of just earning a paycheck. I mean, Bruce Smith came here late in his career because he wanted the paycheck. Deion Sanders' list goes on. Marquee free agents didn't want to come here. Yeah, we kind of, we hit on D'Angelo Hall, but, Albert Hainsworth is a whole nother story. So, you are 100% correct, man. They changed that narrative. And I see the same thing with the Wizards, man. And right now, being a DC sports fan, you should be excited because good times are ahead, man. So I'm not going to get into the next 10, but let's get into the next 5 games real quick, man, because like I said, if they're able to lose against a depleted Memphis Grizzlies team, Sunday we go to Orlando. And yes, Paulo is out with an injury, man, but, is that a winnable game? So we're going to look at the next – matter of fact, let's look at the rest of the road trip. All right, so Sunday we're at Orlando, Monday at Houston, next Wednesday at San Antonio, and next Friday at Atlanta. So realistically, man, how many of those games do you see us getting a win?
I think maybe just the Atlanta game. I mean, Wemby's going to be a hard test. The Rockets with Şengün and company, they're really good. And Sunday it's against – sorry, say it again. Who was against Sunday? Oh, the Magic, yeah. I mean, those guys. Yeah, I mean, even without Paul, I mean, without John Moran and Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart, we got blown out too. So the Magic, I don't know. It'll be the next 5 games. It'll be encouraging to see at least 2 wins or even 3 wins at most. But realistically, I just only see the Atlanta win as somewhat of a winnable game.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. You always want to see winning basketball, even though we know it's going to be in short demand here in DC, man. But like I said, tonight really, I felt like it's a winnable game. And I felt like that, no John Morant, you capitalize. No Desmond Bane, you capitalize. No Marcus Smart, you capitalize, right? I mean, I don't, to me, it gives you an indication. Now, it's a youth movement. I think that has a lot to do with it. Again, there's going to be a talent gap. They fight hard. They play hard, but there's going to be a talent gap with probably 25 teams in the league. Most games, man, we're going to have a talent gap because we're so young. Kyle Kuzma's still out with an injury. Sadiq Bey, probably not going to see him till later, the end of the season, if at all this season. Malcolm Brogdon, he's progressing, but we're dealing with our fair share of injuries. But that's kind of my next question before we get into comments, man. Really, it has the youth movement formally started? I mean, when Kyle Kuzma comes back, when Malcolm Brogdon comes back, where's their place in his lineup, man?
It's a very good question because again, like we want those vets to have that maximum trade value, but we also don't want that to hinder the young core. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Coach Keefe does this. And again, like you don't want to hinder the development, but you also don't want to lose those vets. Like for example, in the past with Tyus Jones, where we just don't get any draft capital or any value out of it at all.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I definitely agree, man. It's gonna be tough. Like I said, I think that head coach Brian Keefe has done a good job, really game planning, not doing the Western Seal thing where it's just throwing out the same lineup. He's actually game planning. It's not putting Sarr at the 4 and putting Valanciunas at the 5. I think it was a really good move because lately he's been playing Sarr at the 5 because we saw clearly that Sarr's just not ready for 5, man. He definitely needs to get into the weight room because Jaren Jackson Jr. was really doing whatever he wanted. And that's the question. We're talking about Triple J real quick. That hard foul on Bub Carrington. I'm an old school guy, man. In the old school NBA, you kind of just get up and keep moving, man. But it's a new NBA, man. To you, is that a flagrant? Or was that a basketball play?
I don't know. It seemed pretty hard enough to be a flagrant, and obviously, like comparing it to back then, I mean, that's a little push, Yeah. But to me, obviously, as a Wizards fan, I want to say it's a flagrant, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Flagrant or not, still losing by 24 points. I don't know if it's gonna be how much of a difference.
yeah. I don't think their mind was on that fall, man. I think the mind was on the scoreboard. But like I said, I'm an old school guy, but you still protect players, man. I felt that with him being in the air like that, I don't know. It's like I saw where he went. You played for the ball. but then tapping him on his head. It's just one of those things, man, where it's just dangerous play. It's a risky play, and then these these young players need to realize, man, that when you go up like that, there's a risk you can get injured. You're going to get met up there at the rim, man, and you go up there against Triple J, you're going to get met. So like I said, I got that old school mentality where if you go up, you're going to get met. So I think he really took a grown man approach about it. He didn't get up, he didn't get mad. He got up, took his, I'm not gonna say he took his L, but he got up and kept playing. He's tough, man. I mean, that's one thing I love about Bub Carrington and Keyshawn Jordan and Alex Sarr. And like I said, I think Alex Sarr is really, I think Jonas Valanciunas is working with him, man, because he's shown a lot more signs of being a lot more toughness, man. Toughness was a question mark with him coming out of the draft, especially, a really bad summer league. But now you see a lot more toughness. Now, is he where we need him to be yet? Especially if he wants to be the long-term answer at the 5. I think he has a long way to go, but I think he's definitely headed in the right direction, man. So let's get into comments. We're going to start this Friday night off like we always do, man. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by SKIMS. And let me go to the single. Boop. All right, let's talk about SKIMS. All right, tonight's episode is brought to you by SKIMS. So, look, when I found out SKIMS was making underwear for men, I have to admit, I was pretty excited. My wife has been buying SKIMS for a while now, and is always raving about how comfortable their underwear is. So I knew they were going to come through with their men's stuff. I feel like at this point, I've tried every boxer brief in the game, but nothing ever fits just right. I think we finally have a winner, guys. SKIMS. SKIMS came out with their Cotton 5 boxer brief, and honestly, it puts other brands to shame. They hit right at the thigh and stay there. That's the key, right? They don't move around. They don't bag out. They don't give you that 5 p.m. wedgie. If you're a boxer brief guy like me, this is definitely the one. So look, do yourself a favor, guys. Shop SKIMS men's at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts for the whole family, SKIMS just launched their biggest holiday shop ever, also available at skims.com. All right, let's get back at this, man. So let's get into comments, man, because we're going to start off Friday night like we always do. So I definitely want to appreciate everybody. Rock with your boy, because it is 11:10 on the East Coast, man. So like I said, definitely appreciate y'all. And we prepping for those West Coast trips, man. So, like I said, definitely appreciate everybody, man. So comment number 1, playing opposites was good, man. How you doing? It says Sarr has to be more proactive and make the right reads on Memphis's offensive schemes. He also needs to be more aggressive and hold his own against the bigs. This is a great learning experience, though. I agree 100%. I think this was definitely a good learning experience. He needs to hit the weight room. I'd like to see 5-10 pounds. I don't want to see a lot of weight on him because we need a big who can move. We are. I believe they mentioned the broadcast. We're number 1 in pace, man. Whoa. So, I mean, this team shows their, when they roll, in transition, this is a good team. And Sarr, you need the centers and be able to be swift on his feet. Long term with Jonas Valanciunas in the starting lineup, man, I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with them constantly hitting in transition. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely want to see Sarr get stronger, but I like the fact that he's swift on his feet. What you think, Abdul?
I agree. Again, like, you don't want to put on too much weight because, that could be a problem. But the pace and everything, you want to keep up. And again, Sarr, it's like you said earlier, like, he's young. Like, it's not a problem now that he doesn't have that much muscle. Like, over time, he can build it.
Oh, absolutely, man. Look, drink your protein shakes. You'll be all right, man. So we were definitely heading in the right direction. Joshua Cotton was good. How you doing? Says Bilal still played good defense. Seems like he was bothered tonight by the loss and effort at times of the team, which is a good thing long term. Yeah, I agree with you. That is a good assessment about Bilal. We often talk about guys stepping up, in the place of Kyle Kuzma being out with injury, even though, he's still, with the team. You see, JP13 really stepping up and being a really good leader for the Washington Wizards. Anthony Gill, we know what leadership he provides, but you see things with Bilal too. And especially for a guy who, put a lot of work in this offseason and wants to be considered one, he's definitely, obviously looking at face of the franchise. I don't know if right now you can honestly say that Bilal's the guy, but, you go into this next draft and grab a guy like a Cooper Flagg, an Ace Bailey, or Dylan Harper. Him and Bilal are definitely, along with Alex, are definitely going to be the faces of the franchise, man, in my opinion. So, I think you agree with me, man. So, you definitely, oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I like see Bilal have that kind of reaction, man. You want to see him care about getting blown out. Like, it's not, you don't want to see this kind of attitude where it's just business as usual. And we've seen that in DC, man, especially with guys that, I ain't gonna name drop nobody, but guys we signed to Supermax contracts. You want to see reactions to being blown out, man. You don't want to see some emotion. And I agree with that comment, man. So, Locked on Law says, Sarr let Jaren Jackson drop 39 on his head. That ain't it. It wasn't just Sarr, man, even though a lot of it did go on Sarr, man. Jonas Valanciunas, I felt like he did well at times, but again, you see that to a certain degree, he's starting to decline a little bit. I still think that he has played very productive basketball. He's a guy who's definitely going to toughen up Alex R. You see the dog factor with him because he's been a Wizards killer for so many years. He's a guy who plays with a chip on the shoulder. But, look, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a guy, he's a big who's very versatile. He's a guy who, again, he can drive to the hoop. He's got some wheels on him, man. So I just felt like the Wizards were overmatched. And, that was one of my keys to victory, man, was that I felt like we bring him out to the perimeter. Bring them out to the perimeter. Definitely utilize guys like Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, guys who move well without the basketball. Corey Kisper's the best on the team moving without the basketball. So, yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr., man, he did his thing tonight. And what can you say? I feel like this is a winnable game, but I definitely expected Triple J to have a feature part of his offense, man. So, let's see. Armand, what's up? Says, smoked like a hookah. Absolutely.
I like that, Brand.
I mean, I like smoking hookah, man, but tonight, man, just gave me bad vibes. So, like I said, it is what it is on that front, man. Plain officer says Bub and Kai are ahead of the learning curve for real. They seem to be beginning to outperform the vets. That's what I'm saying. That's kind of why I asked you that question, Abdullah, man, is that I think that Keyshawn George has earned a starting spot. I mean, he's played well. I think the youth movement needs to officially start. I think that, right now they're shopping everybody. I think they need to go ahead and really consider making moves, man. Because why not just start the youth movement? Jordan Poole has shown that, and even though I don't like the fact that they're starting to play Jordan Poole off ball a little bit, I like to see him being the point. Definitely want to see Bub Carrington be the secondary ball handler and overlap minutes and definitely be that lead point guard for the second unit. But to me, him playing two guard, I'd like to see Bub at the two guard right now till they, because let's be real. We kind of talked about it before. A lot of questions for the future, but I think that Jordan Poole is best served as point guard. So, I mean, did that surprise you seeing JP back at the two guard?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I agree with you there. I feel like JP being that ball dominant and Bub Carrington, secondary ball handler, I think that's the way to go. I don't see, like, I feel like maximization wise, the value offensively, it wouldn't make sense for JP to take the load, and we don't want something like last year where he's just completely out where he is, and we're questioning what he's doing. And when he's at the one and primary ball handler, I think that's where he's best.
I agree 100%, man. I think that when you put the ball in JP's hands, man, and let him dictate the flow of the offense, is a better team. And I think that is a big reason why, yes, you didn't see them really at full power in transition tonight, man. You just didn't see it. And I think that Bub Carrington does show traits of being a floor general, but I think right now he's best served as being off ball in the same backcourt with Jordan Poole right now, man. So let's see. Nomadic Brian says 3-point problems and out rebounded. Yeah, that's pretty much to the point. I mean, we lost the paint tonight. Let's see. My God, Pedro Smith. Yo, for everybody who are Commanders fans, man, like I said, I do my Commanders content. I know my man right here, Abdullah, does. Obviously, we know the real all over, man. But my guy right here, Pedro Smith, man, definitely check my man out, man. If you don't already, check him out, man. High-level Commanders content, man. So definitely check out my man, Pedro Smith. This is great content. Appreciate you, brother, man. Definitely appreciate you, man. Appreciate you watching and tuning in, man. Let's see. Vic says, I like George, then Sar. Man, George, I mean, look, we'll talk this, man. We got this dude with the 24th overall pick, man. I mean, if we're able to hit cats with the 24th overall pick and the 14th pick and Tristan Vucevic in the second round, come on, man. We definitely have a front office that knows what they're doing. Dawn are the days of Ernie Grunfeld and Tommy Shepard. Good Lord, it feels so good to have a legitimate front office with adults in the building. Let's see. Hustle for more. Was good. How you doing? It says Poole is starting to become less aggressive because of the emergence of Bub at point guard. Ooh, and his inability to play off ball. It's hard to watch the game when he starts being passive on offense. I'll say this, everybody knows that I do like JP here, JP 13 here in DC. I love his game. But there are questions. Like I said, do I believe he could be part of the future? Yes. Bub Carrington obviously is, but really, it really comes down to who, Bub Carrington has shown glimpses of being that floor general. So, but he can't play off ball. So, like I said, I don't think that there's going to be any moves or any breakup of this backcourt anytime soon. I think they're heavily invested in this backcourt of Jordan Poole and Bub Carrington, and they should be, because I think you definitely want to see if they can work together for the future, man. But question marks, man. And that's the thing, man, is ever evolving, right? Being in a rebuild, man, is ever evolving. Like I said, Keyshawn George, there were people talking about he might start out with the go-go. Now we're talking about him starting. So I'm just saying, y'all, pump the brakes, man, because things change all the time, man. So that kind of echoes what we were talking about, Abdullah, man, with JP playing off ball, man. I think he's best served at point guard. So let's see, guys. Let's see. Hustle for More says can't trade Poole. Nobody wants him. This isn't 2K. Come on, man. I mean, look, I don't agree with that, man. I don't agree with that. Now, I'm gonna tell you why. Obviously, he can play. Come on now. Jordan Poole can play basketball. And anybody that thinks he's trash, I don't agree with that assessment. He can play. It's just fun. He's like any other young player, man. You have to find the right situation for him to succeed. When they played him, as shooting guard last year, it didn't work. Him and Tyus Jones did not work. So when they put the ball in his hands, he worked. You see the potential. Now, on a championship team, can he be that starting point guard? We don't see that yet. Is he best served as a sixth man like he was in Golden State? Could be. But just an assessment that he doesn't have value. Now, last year he didn't have value. He struggled out the gate, had a really bad first half. But, that second half of Abdullah, man, he built some trade value. And I think that the way he's playing this year, he has trade value. So I wouldn't say nobody wants him, but I think you still want to see him, definitely be, want to see consistency. We know he can play at a high level. We want to see him really, we want to see a sample size of 82 games. You know what I'm saying? So once we see if he can really be that breakout guy this year, that most improved player, type of player we know he can be over the course of 82 games, then I think that, his value is definitely going to rise, man. So like I said, Jordan Poole, just like Saddiq Bey, is a gray area guy where on one hand, you could see him being a future piece. On the flip side of the coin, you can definitely see a scenario where like Corey Kispert, like Saddiq Bey, like every other, veteran, you could see a scenario where they move him, because if they can move Deni Avdija, they can move anybody on this roster outside of the young guys, man. And I think that trade really proved that. Let's see. Vic says, "Stop it! You're just a hater." Look, everybody's got their opinion, man. Like you said, not everybody's high on Jordan Poole. Some people are. It is what it is, man. And that's the beautiful thing about dialogue, right? Everybody's always going to be a pro and con, man. So it is what it is, man. Let's see. Shout out to my guy, Rome Catalico. Was good. Wizards Cavaliers will be fun to watch. Brandon, like a LeBron versus Gilbert Arenas playoff battle. Man, it's gonna be time before we match up with the Cavs in the playoffs, man. But those were the days, man. But I don't know if there's really the glory days, because we can never get past the Cavs in the first round. So it is what it is, man. LeBron every year. I don't know why we always matched up with LeBron in the first round every single year, man. So it is what it is. So everybody, we're gonna try to get through these comments, man, because it's Friday night, and you guys know, man, this bourbon's over here give me the evil eye. So let's get through this thing. IDGAF says Why aren't JP and Bilal being featured? It's like three rookies playing buddy ball. I mean, what do you think about that, Abdullah? I mean, you agree with that assessment?
I think maybe it was. I mean, obviously, it might seem like that tonight at least, but maybe it was just like a night where they just those two they were just connecting, and kind of the game plan shifted towards them. I don't know, but I guess one game, I wouldn't. If I see that consistently, then obviously that can be a little concerning.
I mean, I think tonight they just let him play. They just they roll with the momentum. They let him play. But I agree. I think that if you feature anybody in this offense, your first two options now that with Kyle Kuzma being out of the lineup, because obviously if when Kuz comes back, he's gonna be the number one option, man. Him and JP. But more and more you want to see Bilal become more and more featured in the offense. And I agree right now with Kuz being out, JP 13 and Bilal should definitely be your two featured pieces, man. But there's times where you just let the young guys play, man, because again, there's no pressure on these guys, on these players. That is, the pressure's on Brian Keefe being the developmental head coach in the front office, finding those diamonds in the rough of the 24th overall pick. Because to me, the 2025 draft is the finishing touch. Once we, that draft is going to solidify this core we have. And I think that after that, this team is going to get better and better and really head in the direction of being a playoff team, in my humble opinion, man. So let's see. Man, I mean, we're getting tested in the comment section. Lord have mercy. I love it, man. I love it. And we got some dogs in the comment section, just like we get dogs in the court, man. I like it. Sees IDGAF says at playing opposites is easy to outperform bets when you aren't on the scouting report. I mean, fair enough. Can't argue that. Let's see. Oh, Robe Calico brings up a good point for all you Ravens fans out there. The Ravens won, Brandon. Woohoo, 35-34. I know that this is strictly Wizards, man, but Abdullah, come on, man. That ain't too shabby for a Thursday night game, man. What do you think?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, B. Like I thought it was pass interference. As much as I don't want to be biased and say obviously it was, but
Yeah.
I thought it was. But again, like you don't want the game to end on a penalty and dictate it. But the Ravens, man, I mean, holy crap! And Deontay Johnson didn't even play that well. Like once he gets involved in the offense, Derrick Henry and Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, it's gonna be impossible to stop. Good thing the Commanders play in the NFC.
Dude, I'm trying to tell you, man, I do believe that NFC that Detroit is the team. Even though Marshawn Lattimore said, look, we're this close. But, man, could you imagine that Baltimore and Washington Super Bowl? Good Lord. The Beltway Super Bowl. Let's see. Adam Anderson says, capture the flag. Let's lose, DC. Yeah, I think we're well on that, going down that road, man. He also says, I want to see Tristan Vucevic to get some minutes. I agree. I think you're going to see a lot more minutes from Vuk after the trade deadline, man. I think you're going to move on definitely from Jonathan Jones. But, Rashawn Holmes, I think, is a guy that could definitely be a salary filler in a move made, because I think that Will Dawkins, man, he told me himself, he said, look, this team's going to get younger after the deadline. They're going to look to move on from, if not all, most of these veterans, whether at the deadline or next offseason, man. But, Holmes is definitely being a guy that's going to be featured in a future trade. Vic kind of said that while they're saying Holmes, if he's not on rotation, he's mainly a depth piece, and he's a guy who's going to be a salary filler in the trade. Kind of echoes what I just said. So, yeah, that's a big reason why they signed him. Fred Fezzle, my guy, what's good, man? How you doing tonight? Says, what is SAR's three-point shooting percentage, and when do we start to worry? So I'm going to pull it up real quick, Abdullah, man, but are you starting to worry about his three-point shot, or you think it's going to get better as time comes?
I think it'll get better, but I will get worried to the point where if he's becoming very passive and just settling for three-pointers if he's doing that more than attacking the rim. Because again, like from a young guy's perspective, you want to see him attack. Obviously, that will come once he becomes stronger and stuff. But if SAR's going like 1 for 10, 1 for 5, 1 for 6, then that's gonna be pretty concerning. You gotta go inside, big man.
Oh, absolutely. Now I'll say this: he is currently shooting 20.7%. So, obviously not where you want him to be. But I'll say this: a lot of his looks are wide open. So you want him to continue to shoot those shots. I think he's kind of stepped back from taking a lot of those contested three-point shots. I think he's learned his lessons from Summer League. I agree with you. 7-1, man. You attack. And he's starting to attack the rim a lot more. But I like to see him develop, a game with his back to the basket, some counter moves in the paint. But, from a perimeter standpoint, a lot of these looks are wide open. So he's got to, definitely hit those wide open looks, man. Because tonight, there's a couple of them where they were wide open looks. So let's see, guys. Man, y'all testy in the comment section, and I like it. Let's see. All right, everybody. We're gonna do a couple more comments, man. Let's see. Y'all are tripping in this comment section. All right. Yeah, Vic kind of says that Poole can't touch the ball while playing off ball. I agree with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and end with this comment, guys. Like I said, you guys go ahead, man. Peace and love in the comment section, guys. All right. So this is gonna be the last one for the night. IDGAF says still a ton of games to go. Let's see where we are in 15 games. I agree, man. I think that usually the first 20 games gives me an indicator where the team's at.
That's the first good benchmark, the first 20 in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. To me, the first 15 to 20, you kind of see where you are, man. And you see what kind of move, what moves you need to make, and what kind of, what things to tinker with on as far as the lineup, man. So I think that, what are we 2-5? We got some time. But I think that the youth movement has already started, and why not just go ahead and officially start it, right? Because I think that you definitely see what you can get for Kyle Kuzma at this point. Malcolm Brogdon to me is going to be a hard piece to move, obviously with the injury. And here's the thing too, do we? I'm gonna ask you this question real quick before we roll, man, because I was kind of thinking this. I saw Malcolm Brogdon on the sidelines during the game, and it made me really think that, injury issues has been his issues, man. Now that I'm using a lot of issues here, but the injury bug has been the main thing against him, right? When he's on the court, he's productive, but the fact he's already hurt, and his price tag is 22.5. Are we going to see another scenario where we could potentially see another point guard walk for nothing in the offseason?
Again, that's what I don't want to see, but with that much money and the injury, it's kind of leaning towards it. We'll see that throughout the season as the season goes on. I don't want that to be a thing because, again, it's just we literally just had that scenario just happen. Why let it happen again? But we'll see. I just got to have faith in Will Dawkins and company.
Keep the faith, man, and let Will Dawkins cook. That's all I got to say. Keep the faith and let Will Dawkins cook. So, all right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you again to my guy, Abdullah. Man, he said, look, B, let me get on there. I want to do this recap with you, man. So I said, come on, let's do it, man. So like I said, appreciate you coming on, chopping it with me, man. And kind of looking forward, guys. Sunday, the Wizards will be at Orlando. So real quick, Abdullah, what are 3 keys of victory for the Orlando game Sunday at 6 o'clock?
I'd say, obviously, rebounding wise and controlling the paint, that's got to be one. And always limiting turnovers. You can't win any games in professional sports when you have more turnovers than the opposing team. And the third one is let JP cook. Like we said, I want him to be the primary ball handler because I still, hopefully many others out there have faith in him. And the fact that, as some guys mentioned, that he just has no trade value, I think that's kind of ridiculous. Just let it play out. It's so crazy how some fans can just overreact over the craziest things. And then when they actually show some good improvement, act like they didn't say that a comment about that player like a couple of days ago.
Oh, man, I'm with you, man. Like, you throw smoke and criticism when it's due, and you throw accolades when it's due. I think we all can agree he's played really good basketball this year, man. And he's worked his butt off in the offseason. And that's all we asked him to do is, if you improve your game, to work on your game. So I'm with you on that. I didn't agree with that. But like I said, that's the thing about having an opinion. Everybody's got one. And, people are going to be pro and con. And like I said, not everybody's a fan of JP. I get it because he does get a lot of smoke, man. But I think that, just from a basketball standpoint, I think we all could agree he could play some basketball. He's a guy who could definitely play basketball at a high level, man. So I'm with you. The 3 keys of victory real quick, man. Number one, win the battle, the paint. Rebounding, definitely defensively, you got to lock down the paint. Perimeter defense, man, we've got to close out on some shooters. Tonight, they got a lot of open looks. We took our time getting back in transition. We've got to work on that. Get back in transition, man. Close out some shooters. And 3, I'm going to go ahead and echo my guy, man. Let JP cook, man. Put the ball in his hands and let him dictate pace and let him do his thing. And I think that, when this team rolls in transition, they're a better team. So, all right, man. Like I said, you guys get used to seeing Abdullah, man, because he's going to be on here a lot more often, man. So, like I said, Abdullah, my guy, man, appreciate you coming on, rocking with you, Locked On Wizards Nation, man. Appreciate your time tonight, man. So, again, man, till next time, Abdullah. And, all right, guys, I hope everybody has a safe and blessed weekend. If you drink responsibly. Drink at home. Don't drink and drive. So definitely enjoy your weekend. It's supposed to be, I think Sunday's raining, man. Because I will. Oh, real quick, guys. For Sunday, I know the Wizards are playing at Orlando 6 o'clock game. I should be back in time to do the live recap. Me and my father are going to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Washington Commanders game. So hopefully we beat the brakes off the Steelers, man, because I don't want to hear my dad talk trash on the way back home, man. So, like I said, it's 1 o'clock game. So, guys, I'm pretty much 80% sure I will be back in time to go live with the recap, man. So, like I said, you guys have a good weekend, man. God bless. Hail to the Wizards and peace.